I'm Ashley Chancellor.
I'm Dakota Chancellor.
And we are Collateral Gaming. Welcome to Collateral Gaming, the only video game podcast that matters, where we focus on good games, bad games, and everything else in between in the world of gaming. We are podcasting straight from somewhere in South Texas, and yes, my friends, we are a 420 friendly podcast, so smoke it if you've got it. And if you didn't hear before, my name is Ashley Chancellor. Fun fact, I used to be known as John Jacob Jingleheimer Schmidt. However, I had to change it after all the shouting whenever I went out. I'm here with my brother, Dakota Chancellor. How's it going, bro?
It's going all right. Again, I don't like your intros. I kind of feel like I need an intro now. Might have to up the game. We'll see how this goes.
Alrighty, so today is our first official episode of the season, being that Fable 3 was more of our pilot. Are you excited about this upcoming season, Dakota?
Oh, it's going to be fun. We have a lot of games lined up that we're really excited for.
Yeah.
So this next game being one of our... We've played it a few times, you and I both, but it's a fun one, and I'm excited to do it, especially with the next game that's coming up after that.
Yeah, that's going to be the results of that Instagram poll that we had out. So stay tuned to the end of the episode for that reveal. Today, however, we're going to focus on a game in some ways is kind of similar to the game we did on our last review, our pilot episode, Fable 3. Now, this game also is the third game of its franchise, and it's also kind of a big change from past games of the series in ways of that. It also has a morality system. And what game is that, Dakota?
Infamous Second Son.
Yes. This is a game that we both came into a lot more recently, but it's something that still sticks out in our minds. It's one of the first things I thought of when I was thinking, games we could do for the podcast that both you and I had already done. We're going to challenge ourselves with some new games too that neither of us have played, but...
And then we have a lot of them that, only I've played or only you've played.
Yeah.
So the next game, the Zelda game we're going to play.
Yeah.
I haven't played that one yet, so I'm excited for it.
I need you too. Bro, you were supposed to take
I've
advantage
started.
of the break.
I've actually started. But
Guys, get on his ass about it.
yeah, whatever.
Infamous Second Son, of course, is part of the Infamous franchise. What do you know about that Infamous franchise?
I don't know much.
And that's Sucker Punch Productions?
Yeah, Sucker Punch. Yeah, no, I remember you talking about that. I do.
Yeah. We haven't really played too much else from Sucker Punch.
Yeah, you told me of a couple, but I don't even remember the names, to be honest with you.
They're also famous for Sly Cooper.
Right.
Yeah, a lot of PlayStation favorites like that. And even Cole from Infamous was in the PlayStation version of Super Smash Bros. All-Stars Battle Royale.
You know what? That's right. I remember that. Yes.
Cole and Evil Cole.
Uh-huh.
So Infamous is a game series about a group of superhumans called Conduits that suddenly emerge from the population. Kind of a superhero fantasy kind of thing, but they're not superheroes, but it's like superpowers. They all control a unique form of matter. In the first two games with Cole, that's electricity. But Second Son, that's something wholly different, right?
Yeah, it introduces a bunch of new powers. In fact, they talk about even more than they show. Like there's a point where they there's like a little audio sample, and one of the guys talks about all the tests they've done on different conduits, and there's so many. There's like magnet, wire, paper. It's crazy.
Yeah. So in Infamous Second Son, the powers that are mainly featured in the game are an assortment of Delsin's power absorption powers, and in the game that's smoke, neon, video, and concrete. So talk to me a little bit about that, Dakota. What do you think about Delsin and his power set?
I like his ability, his empathic ability, because it's like it gives him a new purpose. It almost gives your character a purpose, because like, well, now you can have all these abilities you have to do something with.
You have any idea how embarrassing it is for me to keep arresting my own brother over and over again?
Maybe you should stop arresting your brother over and over and over again.
You think this is a joke?
No, I don't.
Is this how you want to leave your mark on the world, huh? Now look, for all we know, we may be able to pass you through their security, because you're not a normal bioterrorist. Seem to be getting the hang of your new symptoms, right?
And of course, the only downside being that, nope, can't think of anything. This is pretty freaking awesome.
All right, I got this whole thing figured out. We hit the town, maybe swing by the Space Needle, always wanted to see it, and then we're back home to save some lives.
You do realize when we hit the town, there's a fair chance the town's gonna, head back?
I like his abilities are nice. The empathic abilities where he can take so far we see 4 like you talked about. He has a good ability with them all. He figures it out pretty quickly. Smoke, you drain power cores throughout the game, and that's how you upgrade. And the abilities you can do, the cinematography in the game is beautiful too because of it. It's awesome.
Yeah, so Delsin has a very unique power set in that he can absorb any other conduit's power as kind of a empath conduit, an ability absorber. So Smoke is the first power he gets from Hank in the very beginning, and it's kind of his trademark in the trio that's formed between that trio of conduits.
Yeah, and then he gets from Fetch. He gets Neon, which is a super cool ability. Kind of like it gives you like a sniper feel almost when you play a little bit.
They all have different gameplay styles. I think Smoke is more of a combat based, has abilities that both pertain to the good and the evil karmic pathways. So in the game, like I said before, it has a morality system, and that's the karma system carried over from the previous inFAMOUS games. So you can be good or evil. There's not much in the way of neutral pathways, and I don't think inFAMOUS really is representing that. It's just the dual pathway system within the narrative. And what's cool about that is that that karma actually affects the gameplay skills that you unlock with those powers.
Yeah.
So yeah, like I said, all the powers have different feels as far as combat goes and traversal. Like I said, Smoke is more of a combat-based power, and it's got a multitude of abilities that are pertaining to both the good and the evil. And you can make enemies cough, you can let them surrender, and also execute.
Yeah, execute. That's the evil way.
Yeah.
There are different buttons on the controller, and eventually, after your morality level is high or low, depending if you're good or evil, the option goes away. You eventually only have the option to either surrender or execute. So I think that was pretty crazy.
Oh yeah, right off the bat when you start using going down the morality system.
Yeah.
And then Neon.
Yeah.
What did you think about Neon?
It was like you're like a marksman. It's always like the perfect shot. There's less spray, more like aim. You have to actually aim when you use it, and the ability to run up walls is really cool. That set it apart from all the other ones. And you get that one from Fetch. She gives it to you in the story after you get Smoke, and then after that it's followed by Video, which is given to you by Eugene.
So whereas Neon has kind of more of a sniper feels, the ability to slow down time and hit enemy weak points, such as the legs for good karma, the head for evil karma, and a little bit more of even the heavy ammo is kind of more of a sniper, one-shot kill. Whereas, Smoke has the Cinder missile, which is, like a missile.
Yeah.
So Video also has an explosive heavy ability, and that's the Bloodthirsty Blades, which home in.
Yeah.
Now, Video's kind of
really
weird. Neon you get from like neon signs, and Video you get literally from video screens, and it's the ability to project. In this case, it kind of stems from that conduit, Eugene's imagination, which is this video game he plays with angels and demons. Remember that?
Yeah, that was cool. There's one part in the game where the angels come out of the video screens.
Yeah.
They're made of video.
Yeah.
It's really cool. And it's kind of like when you're good, it's like a bluish color, and you're evil, it's like an orangey color. So
Like
it's really
red.
interesting. Yeah, like red. And the other abilities have that as well. The Neon, you have like it's like pinkish color, like magenta.
Yeah.
When you're good, and when you're evil, it's like red, just red.
Sort of red.
Same thing with Smoke. Smoke is orange, and when you're evil, it's red.
Yeah, definitely. They're all influenced by which pathway you're going through, either the good or the evil. Which, like I said before, is pretty binary. But that's not necessarily a weakness, as many people would claim, as far as power set and narrative go. But about the video power set, it's also a little bit more combat based than say Neon is. But both Neon and Video are kind of your best traversal, right?
Yeah. Oh, when you get Neon, you're just going around the map quickly. You start at one side of the map and then you're on the other, and then you actually go to a completely different part of the map, and you get Video, and you can just fly across the map. I mean, it's just ridiculous.
Yeah, and video because you have the wings
Yeah.
whenever you're using the dash ability, and then also it has a few like hovering type abilities. You can hover while aiming,
Yeah, that's nice.
and it's good lift,
Uh-huh.
and it also has an invisibility power.
Yeah, that's your smoke bomb in smoke.
Mhm.
It's the same kind of premise. It's that button that does it again. You know, it's like that second grenade. You know, you've got your grenade, your bloodthirsty blades, and then you've got your little second what do you call those?
It's a special attack, or a special ability,
Mhm.
whereas the missiles are more like heavy ammo,
Yeah.
heavy attack. And then the last ability you get at the very end of the game, it's not nearly as fleshed out, but it's also the most overpowered ability, which is concrete.
Yeah, and you have to drain concrete from actually dead DUP members.
Right, because it all stems from the head of DUP who's a conduit, has the concrete ability. Now the DUP is the Department of Unified Protection, which has now been formed in the aftermath of the other games. Now Dakota and I aren't very well acquainted with Infamous 1 and 2. We've never really played those, but Infamous Second Son, we were able to kind of pick up this idea that conduits are ostracized from society because they're dangerous and they have the DOP that rounds them up.
Yeah.
Now, like you said, the DOP members use concrete, which you absorb from them. All the other abilities you switch to by absorbing them. So smoke, you want to replenish your smoke with smokestacks, right?
Yeah, you'll do. Yeah, with smoke, you get smokestacks. Any chance,
cars.
there's a just broken car, a destroyed anything, there eventually will be smoke coming out of it, like a fire, and you can drain that. It's usually not that much unless you go to an actual source, like a new exploded car or a smokestack. You'll get a lot more of the smoke. You don't fill up the bar all the way.
Yeah.
With video, you drain the video like I talked about, and neon, you drain the neon signs, and there's neon signs all over town, so it's usually pretty easy.
And then the concrete ability is Delsin's ultimate goal actually in the story, which we'll get to in just a second here. And with that, he's going after the head of the DOP, Augustine, and he at the very end of the game in the final boss battle, he absorbs that power from her. But then you have the ability to free roam after the story and finish up some of the secondary objectives. But that concrete power is the most overpowered in the game. And although he couldn't absorb it as a new ability from the DOP, he had to go to the prime conduit, because the other soldiers in the DOP are imbued with it, he can at least absorb his supply of it once he's acquired the power.
Because they have a supply. If
Yeah.
that makes any sense.
They all use the concrete ability, but it's also the greatest thing to use against them. It's very, we had so much fun with the powers. Neon and video completely overpowered smoke for us, although
It really
smoke still
did.
had its advantages.
Well, it was nice to go up on top in a building in a second because you could go through the vents.
Yeah.
You know, the double dash is nice.
Yeah.
It's pretty helpful. I mean, I like the cinder missiles a lot too. They have good, pretty good damage abilities.
It's a good explosive ability.
Yeah, explosive. Exactly. It's a good point.
Invent healing on the good.
Oh yes. Oh, that's really cool. Yeah, because you do like this ground pound with your good comic streak. That's really cool. And we need to get into that too, because the neon, they all have karma streaks for your morality.
Yeah, the karma streaks.
And your comic streak for smoke is the ground pound. You fly really high up
Orbital
into the
drop.
air. Orbital drop. That's right. I can't remember the name of it. And you just do explosive damage on the ground when you hit the ground. You're like this massive meteor, and so it destroys everything in the radius. And then neon, you've got this ability where you spread your arms out and you just shoot a bunch of neon lights in like a line, but like a horizontal line. And then video has a vertical line, so you do a big like sword slash onto the ground, and all the angels like shoot in on the sword, and it's like one straight line forward, like a vertical line versus the horizontal line. So that's pretty cool. And then concrete doesn't have one, does it? Or did it have one?
It doesn't have a karma streak.
That's right. It doesn't have a comic streak.
But it's overpowered and you take
don't.
less damage while you have concrete equipped.
Yeah.
So it's pretty fun after the story to just go around and destroy the DOP.
Oh yeah, because there's a point where you do showdowns where you clear out districts where you
Yeah.
want to 100% the game. You have to clear out these different districts. You have to get all the collectibles in there and whatnot, and all the missions and challenges. Yeah, and there's the district showdowns, which you once you've completed getting it to like 30% or so to 100% the rest of the area, you have to do the
DOP
showdown
control.
Yeah, DUP control. That's right. That's what they call it whenever you finish missions and whatnot.
You're decreasing the control the DOP has over the city of certain sections of Seattle, or all of Seattle, district by district, and you're decreasing it from 100% to 0%.
Yeah, and by doing the district showdown, that finishes it off. It's like the last mission. You can do it before a few others.
Yep.
They do it at like around 30%, but I like to do it last, because it's like I'm clearing it out. And with concrete, it's so easy to just wreck in those. With smoke, it was actually hard. You do one of those and you have actual trouble fighting the guys. Neon is a little easier. Video, you and I are pretty good at video,
Yeah.
so it is almost like it upgraded each time for us. And then concrete is just overpowered, and you just wreck.
Yeah.
So
There's definitely a lot of differences with the different powers in the system, and I think we had a lot of fun with these elemental attributes.
Yeah.
So and that's a big part of the story as well, is the conduits who have these abilities. And with that came from the aftermath of Infamous 2, just kind of this period where the Department of Unified Protection took over and changed the name of conduits to bioterrorists.
Yeah, that's right. And if you call them conduits, you know, it's almost like you're a supporter of them now.
Your sympathizer.
Your sympathizer, that's what they called it.
Yeah. So now Delsin Rowe is living in Salmon Bay right by Seattle. This is the first Infamous game to take place in a real city. It's not quite one-to-one like Assassin's Creed or anything. Assassin's Creed Unity, but it is a pretty good recreation of Seattle from what I'm aware of in terms of some of the unique landmarks like the Space Needle.
Yeah. That's where you learn the orbital drop for smoke.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that was badass. So Delsin lives on a reservation right outside of Seattle. He's part of a fictional tribe called the inFAMOUS, very, you know, close knit together Native American tribe right outside of Seattle. Probably no more than an hour out, I'm guessing. I think Salmon Bay might be a real place.
Is it?
I think so.
That's right. I think we looked it up now. I think I remember looking up something. I think it's fictional to a point though. Like there is a Salmon Bay, but it's not like in the same location or something. I don't even know.
I don't know.
It's something weird.
But anyway, he lives there, and he's never been aware of his powers before until suddenly these group of conduits that are being transferred by the DOP, which are the 3 conduits who give Delsin his powers before he gets to Augustine.
Yep.
And that's Hank, who gives him the smoke power, Fetch, who gives him the neon power, and also stars in the standalone DLC that we'll talk about in a bit. And then also Eugene, the gamer junkie who has video.
Yeah.
And Hank is the first conduit that Delsin comes across whenever they're transferring those 3 prisoners to military oversight.
Yeah, right.
Because the DOP is being supposedly phased out.
Supposedly.
But the conduits get loose and cause havoc in Salmon Bay, especially Hank, who's an ex-convict who's had a golden opportunity every time he gets locked up.
Yeah, that's what he calls it.
Yeah.
I spent most of my life behind bars. It's easy enough to bust out. You just gotta wait for that golden opportunity. When I got my powers, hell, I was unstoppable. Until the DUP caught up with me. Yeah, they got a special hole they like to toss folks like me in. Figured out a way to bind us all up so we couldn't use our powers. That also meant they had to feed us, wash us, even wipe our goddamn asses. That's no way for a man to live. There's no way. They had this red-headed bitch there, really into needles and scalpels. She called what she did to me tests. But if you do enough time, you learn a few tricks. You just gotta be patient. Sooner or later, they'll screw up. They always do. You maybe see something or you hear something, learn things you weren't supposed to know. So when that bitch put the 3 of us in that wagon, I knew what was coming. A golden opportunity.
Hank's an interesting character, and he has a kind of a fleshed out backstory that's explored later in the game when you meet him. But
but even though he's like an ex-convict, you still feel bad for him. You know, you feel the story, you still sympathize for him.
Just a little bit, by the end because of his daughter and all that.
Yeah.
But when he comes into Delsin's path, it ultimately sets the story forward, begins the transformation. At first, Delsin is a little reluctant about his powers, just barely though. But him and his brother Reggie, they interplay, and eventually Delsin fully accepts it pretty quickly after talking to Hank, and he realizes that he has these powers. But that's something that almost gets him in trouble when the DOP show up to pick Hank up, and he meets Augustine with the concrete ability, and then that's your first good or evil choice in the game that dictates which pathway that you're going to go down, right?
Yeah, that's the first one. That's the first time where you choose, good or evil, and it sets you forward after that.
Right, and so you talk to Augustine, and she asks you if you have any information, and you're beginning to tell her that, well, you have the opportunity. You can turn yourself in and tell her that you're a conduit.
Yeah.
Or you can sacrifice the tribe for your own sake.
Yeah.
Just let me go. Just let me walk away. Nobody's ever got to know about any of this. Wait a minute. Just stop. Let's talk about this.
Oh, Henry. I am so very disappointed in you.
Well, we got him, right?
I flushed that mean old conduit for you. Good job, everybody. Especially you, guys.
Bioterrorist. Henry Daughtry was a bioterrorist. Conduit. Is a word used by traitors who sympathize with their cause. You're not a traitor, are you?
I try not to be.
You seem nervous.
No, I'm not nervous.
It's been my experience there are only two reasons for people to be nervous. Either they're cowards, or they have something to hide.
Well, you know, I also get nervous around pretty girls.
You were in there with that bioterrorist for some time. Did he share anything with you?
Share.
Did he say anything to you? Share any of his ramblings about conspiracies?
No, he didn't share anything.
Good. That's good to hear. You see, we are engaged in a life and death war with these bioterrorists, and it's my job to do whatever it takes to ensure that we win that war.
What? That's kind of funny because aren't you a bioterrorist too? Okay.
Yes, I am. Sometimes you have to fight fire with fire. And it's clear now that you're not a coward, which means there's something that you're not telling me.
What are you doing? You can't do this, you crazy. I've got rights.
And I have the legal authority to suspend those rights whenever I feel it's necessary. Like now, for instance. I'll ask again. What happened in there?
And I will tell you again.
I'm told that hurts.
Maybe I know what happened to there.
No, Betty, don't.
Really? Still nothing. Well, unless you decide that you do have something to tell me, I'll go chat with that nice old lady. But you should know, concrete is especially hard on brittle bones. And if she doesn't talk, I'll just move on to the next one, and the next, until I find someone who does. So do you have something you want to tell me? Or do you prefer that I move on to your friends here?
I'm a conduit.
What?
I said I'm a conduit, all right? I caught it a second ago from that guy.
Oh, you caught it. Very funny.
Ah! God!
Delsin! So, Betty, maybe you can give me a straight answer. Yeah, I'm told that hurts.
But either way, because even if you try to rat yourself out, which is doing the right thing,
Yeah.
she still doesn't believe you, and she still injures all the members of the tribe.
Yeah.
Now, Delsin in either pathway feels personally responsible for this, and ultimately, at first, that's his goal is to get back to Augustine because he figures out he must be a power absorber
Yeah.
of other conduit abilities, and so he's going to get to Brooke Augustine and the head of the DUP and drain her concrete ability in retribution, so that, well, not even retribution, he just wants the concrete ability so he can save his.
Yeah, he just wants to save the Akomish. That's all he wants to do in the beginning. And then eventually it comes to a point where he really likes his powers.
Very
And-
quickly.
yeah, very quickly. Oh, goodness. I mean, by the first scene you start using them where you're still learning them, he's like, oh, this is great. I love this. He's like laughing and joking around with it, you know? And that's kind of the beginning where you also decide, when you fight your first few enemies and, you shoot some people and you're like, oh, should I execute them? Should I not? So it's pretty interesting. You fight DUP pretty quickly too.
Yeah.
So it's interesting.
Yeah, you try to go to the checkpoint.
Yes.
And obviously Delsin's a conduit, so he passes it. But then you get to to free roam the city. Right after that, you get access to the whole top half of the map, and you can start taking down DOP control in order to get to Augustine. Now, throughout the game, Delsin also gets whereabouts of the other conduits that were in that truck.
Yeah,
like
Fetch, who'll be in the next one after Hank, and I think he does track down Hank first, doesn't he? Again.
No, he doesn't track
And then he
down
goes
Hank
after
until later.
No, he goes. That's right. He comes back later to get Hank. But no, he tracks down Fetch. He learns about her, and then he does he becomes it's really cool. You see an investigative side of him where you'll see his brother and him, and he'll be on the phone with his brother, and you take pictures of a scene, and you figure out that there's another conduit in town, and then you end up finding her hideout, and eventually you find her, and y'all you chase her around, you try to get her ability super bad, you fight her, and then you get her ability.
Yeah, and then you get the neon ability. And at this point in the game, up to this point, you can already, like I said, free roam Seattle, and you can start taking on the missions for the DOP clear down, and then you can also start influencing your morality even more to get you to the highest rank of whatever, because you have ranks in the good pathway that's starting from, I don't remember, but it ends up with True Hero.
Yeah, there's Guardian.
Yeah.
There's, I don't even remember them all now, you're right. Hero,
Yeah.
I think. That's True Hero at the end.
Yeah, Guardian to True Hero, and then Evil, you start from Thug to Infamous.
Infamous, yeah.
Now, believe it or not, the good is supposedly canon to the storyline in the previous Infamous game.
Yeah, but they want you to choose the evil one. At any chance, any turn, they're gonna throw the evil one in your face because you're like, hey, there's an evil pathway here.
Yeah. Well, once you get a pathway though, you pretty much have to stick to that one because there's not many neutral. There's no neutral pathway. There's no neutral storyline, and and in order to get access to all abilities in any skill tree, you have to eventually fully max out. But
there's some points where it'll show you both options. I remember there's one point where it showed both, and I tried to do one, it wouldn't let me. It said, no, you can't. So you at least know that if you went down that path, you would have had this option.
Yeah, you can't. You have to be a certain rank in order to make certain gameplay choices that affect the story, such as corrupting or redeeming each conduit that you come across, and then ultimately either exposing or killing Augustine. So as Delsin moves up throughout the story, he either causes the people to see that conduits are not really bad, to stop seeing them as bioterrorists, and to praise him as a hero and see him as the protector of Seattle. Now, the opposite pathway, of course, is the evil, where you cause the citizens to fear you.
Yeah.
And so conduit hatred isn't necessarily halted, but you take role.
There's a point where you can attack and kill innocent civilians on the street.
Yeah.
In the beginning, and they whenever you go down that path, it's easy to do that because you can get your streak up easy. Just kill a couple civilians, done. Oh well.
And I felt it was pretty congruent with the story. It was nothing especially jarring.
No, it really wasn't.
He goes on a pathway to find out he represents something much greater, as to be an example as a conduit, or he ends up just wanting to take control, and even his admittedly selfless act of wanting to help the Hakomish turns south by the end.
Yeah.
If you're evil.
That makes sense.
And
it's nothing too outlandish. It really isn't.
Yeah.
It's a believable story either way. It's a good story either way. And I think, whereas the good option is what you're supposed to choose. The evil one, it's a whole new story. You can play the game again and play that story,
Yeah. And the story, it's pretty short and sweet, just like our last episode, Fable. Get through it multiple times, and you want to try both the good and the evil pathway. A lot of people are hoping, for a third, a neutral kind of pathway, but I don't feel like there's a need.
Really, honestly, I can't see a need for that.
I want to play so many games that, replay value for me is pretty good if you just add two pathways for me to go good or evil.
Yeah, honestly.
Other than that, I don't really have a need anymore. Now, this one does affect the story quite a bit more than the last game, because you can have an entirely different ending based on if you're evil, where Delsin just destroys.
Yeah, wreaks havoc.
Yeah. But yeah, I like the story. I think there's some aspects that could be a little bit better, of course, if we fleshed out the side characters that came in and then just kind of disappeared. But other than that, the story is very compelling. The acting is fantastic.
Oh, it's wonderful. The voice actors do an amazing job. It fits what the animation movements.
The motion capture animation is spot on.
Oh yeah,
looks very real. It's completely utilizing the PS4's power.
Yeah, I agree. It really is. It does a good job of that. Even the PS4, the remote, the touch button in the middle, it uses that constantly. You even turn your controller sideways at some point. That's gyroscope, right?
For the graffiti,
So,
right?
yeah, you do the graffiti. So it's
so
use every function of that PS4 controller, every function of the PlayStation that you can get out of it. It uses it. It's a smart way of doing it too.
Now, the graffiti, that's a unique kind of one of the side missions you can engage in the game, and that actually clears DOP control because he graffitis messages. Delsin Rowe is kind of a punk character from the very beginning.
Oh yeah,
brother of the sheriff of Salmon Bay, Reggie.
It's like pastor's daughter, same thing.
Yeah,
Cop's
he gets
brother.
in all kinds of trouble. He's a small town delinquent, but honestly has some sense of morality in him, at least in the beginning. He can go down this tragic kind of development throughout the story, and want to take control and let his powers get to his head. But other than that, initially he has kind of a sense of responsibility, right?
Yeah, well, they make you believe that he's this good guy at first. You know, you have good intentions, and that's how it pushes you to do the good path. You know, the story, he's generally a good guy. He likes to have fun, laugh. He's a delinquent. I mean, there's a reason he's painting on his brother's face in the beginning, but ultimately he's good-hearted.
Yeah.
So.
The first thing that you do in the game is actually the graffiti where he graffitis his brother's face on the poster. And it's hilarious because actually it's a really cool moment where you can tilt the controller sideways, like Dakota says, shake it, and then spray on the screen, and it paints that picture right away. And immediately his brother's after him, but you don't know yet. You just know it's police, and he goes to try to parkour along the little area before you get any powers.
Yeah. This is just kind of
establish an alibi.
Yeah, it's a tutorial in the beginning is what it is. It's like that's their way of doing a tutorial that's in the story mode. You know, learning to jump, learning to run, learning to do anything besides your abilities.
Right.
All the basic controls.
Parkour basics. And, you know, right after that, when the score kicks off, you know, Delsin's pretty much enamored by his powers right away.
Oh, yeah.
And even if he's good, I mean, he's proud of who he is. I think that Conduits, you know, don't represent, you know, a clear danger to society. They're just people, you know, maybe the next evolution.
Yeah, they even hinted that, you know, they're the new evolution. They're the new. That's what everyone's gonna be eventually.
Like the mutants of X-Men.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Now, Delsin, of course, is also characterized by the relationships he has with other characters, which is kind of static in a lot of ways. Either which way you go, good or evil, you're going to have a similar relationship with these characters, although the other Conduits, you'll be either, you know, rising them up or leading them down a bad pathway. But the biggest relationship of the game that takes full center between their interplay
is between Delsin and his brother Reggie.
Yeah. It's so funny because Reggie's kind of a more conservative, upstanding member of the law, and he's tired of Delsin's antics.
Oh, yeah.
He's tired of arresting his brother over and over again, and he's not quite as happy about Delsin's power exchange. Immediately he denies it. He's not one of the bioterrorists, you know, and throughout the whole game he's kind of worried about it. And his character death is the saddest.
And that was the worst because he comes with you through all of it, to be there with you all of it, even though he doesn't even like he wasn't a fan of bioterrorists before because he was a cop. He had every reason to believe that they were evil. You know, they're all evil until he met his brother, and it started to change his mind. And so he ends up following you and does what, you know, he helps you, and he dies doing just that.
Yeah.
It's awful. It's just like, it just brings you so much pain to see him die because you feel bad. You feel like, oh, I did this.
Yeah. But the interplay between the characters is a lot of fun. Reggie kind of keeps Delsin, you know, kind of straight, although Delsin can still go evil.
Oh, yeah.
But Reggie's proud of him and he loves him either way. And
sure, I wouldn't love him either way. I was his brother. He was going evil.
But it's a lot of fun because the interplay between the characters is just so humorous. It makes you just really love both of them. And I think anybody that feels like Delsin had less depth to his character, I can understand that. To him, he was very compelling.
Yeah, I think they had good character development. I really do. I think they did a good job. You love the grandmother immediately. That's one of the first characters
Betty.
you start to love, Betty, because she kind of saves you while you're being a delinquent. She knows you're being that way. She doesn't approve of it, but she'll help you, you know. And there's Reggie, who's a hard ass, but he's a brother and he's trying to get you through life properly, you know. He's almost like a father figure, but like, you know, obviously big brother figure.
Yeah.
And so they did a good job of that. The relationships were great. I mean, even the other characters, Fetch, between him and Fetch, the conversations they had, the conversations between him and Eugene, you know, whether he's good or evil, he has a good plot with them. They did a really good job with that, tense between the characters.
The relationships with the other Conduits, those are also, you know, some of the most interesting. Now, he does have kind of an implied romance with Fetch.
Yeah, and if you go down the evil path, it's more than implied.
Yeah, it's explicit. So Fetch, Abigail Walker is her name, and she represents kind of the love interest in the game, and it's not explored completely, but I think it leaves enough to the imagination.
Oh, yeah.
The evil pathway, they straight up hook up, but in the good pathway, it's kind of acknowledged that there's something there and that they spent the night together. So it probably happened in the good pathway too, and there's kind of the evidence of that romance lossing. And Delsin getting jealous later.
Yes,
when Eugene seems interested in her.
She's way out of your league, bro.
Yeah.
Let me just tell you this now.
I wish that romance was explored just a little bit more because I was just such a big fan of it. Maybe I'm just kind of a softie, but you know, I get a little gushy with a lot of these ships.
You're so white, Ash. Too white.
Well, anyway, now another interesting relationship is that with Eugene and, and also Hank, you know, both the other Conduits that he gets his powers from. So Eugene's like kind of a teenage gamer. Okay. Eugene is like this teenage gamer type. He's kind of shy and reluctant, but he wants to help other Conduits.
Yeah. He's lived in this, you know, reclusive world because of what happened to him with his backstory. I know we'll get into that in a minute, but you learn a lot about the backstories of a lot of characters, and but the relationship between him and Eugene was wonderful. Spot on. They did a really good job with that. You know, you're almost like you're taking him under your wing.
Yeah.
You know?
And then with Eugene, you're kind of taking him under your wing. Kind of a little bit of a rivalry with Hank, your other smoke ability.
Oh,
that stays throughout the game.
Because he doesn't want to like you in the beginning.
Yeah.
In the beginning, he has no reason doesn't like you, get away from me. And then you're like, well, you're questioning him. It's like, oh, hold on, you gave me this. I need to know how to control this. How do I stop this?
Yeah.
How to get rid of this?
You have and that's the first questions he asks Hank, but then Hank immediately tells him it's not something you can get rid of. And so then Delsin says, well, can you help train me? And Hank says, I don't have time. I'm on the run. He's just trying to get back to his daughter. You later find out. You think he dies there, but he comes back later and actually tricks you, kind of betrays you. But ultimately, has a motivation for it. And whereas you can redeem or corrupt Vetch and Eugene, with Hank, you ultimately, towards the end of the game, before you face Augustine, you choose to spare him or kill him right when he's about to join his daughter.
Right.
Yeah. So that was an interesting, and all the characters have, established character backgrounds. You've got Vetch, who has the relationship with her brother that's explored in the standalone DLC First Light. And that's twisted with her wanting to kill drug dealers who are responsible for her brother's death, Brent.
As a little girl, I never thought it'd be me. That I'd be one of them. My powers were a surprise. My parents turned me in. They knew what the government would do to people like me, and they did it anyway. I didn't know what to do, but my brother Brent just grabbed our coats, and we ran. Those were hard days on the street. Moving from city to city, no comfort anywhere. Until we met some dealers, and man, they hooked us up. The drugs were heaven. But then we always wanted more. And the withdrawal, agony. Always looking for a fix. And when you lose your stash, when you think someone stole it from you, the drugs, the dealers, they make you do things that... Oh God, Brent. The government picked me up easy enough after that. But it wasn't a regular jail. They trained me to shoot, taught me how to kill. So on the day of the crash, I escaped with all those skills. Everything I needed to set things right. Brent, I promise, every dealer I find, I'm gonna burn your name in their chest. No one else is gonna suffer like we did. No brother. Nobody else.
And then Eugene, he was bullied in high school.
He had a lot of bullying, and so that became kind of a rage of depression.
Yeah.
Depression and rage. And it became to the point where, once he figured out he was a conduit, his emotions were being released in his ability.
Yeah. And Delsin kind of takes him under his wing as well.
At school, I always tried to blend in. To fade into the background. To disappear. But the bullies found me anyway. They always do. The only place I felt I belonged was in Heaven's Hellfire. In that game, I made the rules. I could summon angels to protect the victims, and demons to punish the bullies. But the real world, that I couldn't control. At first, I did my best to ignore them. Until that one day, when they pushed me too far. When the DUP came, they said they were taking me to a new school, designed for people like me, different. For 6 years, she hooked me up to her machines. She made me call them out, always stopping before they could save me. Then that crash. That was my chance to finally really disappear. Where no one could find me and hurt me. But when I saw them rounding up more people who were different, I knew what she was gonna do to them, and I knew we had to stop her.
And then, of course, we finally get to Augustine. And
that is the relationship between Delsin and Augustine is one of the most interesting by far.
she's such a bitch.
She's a bitch. You hate her, but you're always like joking with her, making jokes with her. You know, anytime she either gets you, you're in front of her, you're joking with her. You know,
like Delsin.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. The relationship between Delsin and Augustine. It's crazy.
Yeah, but in the beginning, you can kick the shit out of her.
Yes, you could. Oh, that's amazing.
And that's his whole motivation in the game, is to get to her so he can absorb her concrete power, help Tribe. Of course, if he goes evil, he does end up killing his Tribe instead.
Typical.
So then there's another title, of course, and I've been teasing at it a little bit, and that's inFAMOUS First Light.
Yeah.
It's considered a standalone DLC. That's how we got introduced in this, right, Dakota?
Yeah, it was. That was the first game we saw because wasn't it free on PlayStation?
It was free on PlayStation Plus for PlayStation Plus members.
And so when we played it, and then he played it, you played it more than I did for sure. But I remember playing it. It was really fun. It was it felt free. You felt very free in the game. And so when you play Second Son, it makes you feel even more free because you have 4 abilities you go through. You know, and with First Light it's only 1, and you're just fetch. You just have your ability, which is it was a great ability to use because it was very versatile. And you could upgrade it really easily. So it was a good choice. I think that was a great game to play, to make the great character to make the game off as well.
Yeah. So Fetch is the character that's explored in inFAMOUS First Light.
Yeah.
She's got the more fleshed out background story, and she's got probably one of the coolest powers in the game, which is Neon. And her power set, and I just recently played it too. I played it myself in preparation for the podcast. You know, I have some gameplay of that as well. Her power set is quite a bit different from Delsin's, though, even though it is based on the Neon. She still can slow down time and pinpoint enemy weaknesses. There's less morality to her moveset. She can do everything that there is to offer with Neon.
Yeah.
And she kind of has her own martial arts fighting style that she said is based off anime. It says in some of the promotional material.
Oh, that's funny. That's
Yeah.
cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah, and so her power set is a lot more balanced because Delsin switches powers.
Yeah.
And so his different powers have different strengths and weaknesses, but hers is more balanced out to where you get all of the combat and traversal abilities in one package.
Yeah, they do a good job. They use the buttons well. You know, they did a really good job with making you have the same abilities, the balanced abilities like you talk about, whereas inFAMOUS Second Son had to do it in 4 abilities.
Yeah.
And so having to put as much action and freedom in one ability, well, they did a good job at it.
Yeah, and Neon's definitely one of the more standout abilities in the game. It's kind of harkens it back to the original inFAMOUS games, which focused on mostly one power, with inFAMOUS 2 having different an additional power you could get whether you were good or evil.
Yeah.
But in First Light, Fetch is the progenitor of the Neon ability, and it represents her backstory, which is slightly changed from what was in the game, but she also could have been influenced by drugs.
True.
So her and her brother run away from home, and then Brent takes care of her. But through a complicated scenario, she ends up accidentally killing him because of drug dealers.
That was a really good character to choose as for the game. Eugene was an interesting character, but I think she would make the best game, and they did a good job with that. Hanks wouldn't have been fun to play as Hank. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Eugene, it would have been fun to do the video, but I feel like his story would have, because there's a whole time where he's locked up in Augustine's cell, and so it just wouldn't be that interesting. Fetch was a great choice.
Fetch, yeah, and definitely a lot of ways she has a more fleshed out story and more polished gameplay than in Second Son. So a lot of people say it was kind of even better in some ways, even just as a DLC. You get to free roam the top half of the Seattle map still,
that's
and
right.
it switches. It's framed in the present with her telling the story as a captive of the DOB before she ever meets Delsin or any
Before
of
all
that.
that, yeah.
But right before, I feel like by a few years.
Oh yeah, not very long, because that was the worst time, and right after that, she ended up getting caught by the DUP.
Yeah,
and so
that was 7 years later. And so you play as part of her story. The story is framed by her telling it in the present. But you do play as her in Seattle, and then have the arenas, the training arenas in the present. You can switch between those at any time. In the present, you can play as her and go against hordes of enemies. You also have Delsin.
Oh, that's right, you do, don't you?
And he can switch between his powers.
That's cool.
Yeah, so you have both Fetch and Delsin in the First Light game, which originally we just got as a standalone game.
Yeah, we did. Well, that was the game we had, so we didn't know the connection between her and Delsin until we played Second Son.
Yeah.
I know it's upsetting. What you've been through is unimaginable. But I can't help you unless you open up. Miss Walker. Miss Walker.
Fetch! Please, tell me what happened.
So, what do you think about the future of the Infamous franchise?
I think we could do more, going into other characters, like what we talked about. Eugene would be an interesting character to go in. Maybe if you want to make a game off of him, it would be fun. I think they could do it. I could see a future in this gaming, because in this series, knowing there's the other series too, the other part of the series, which is Infamous 1 and 2, those were huge hits. Huge hits. Everybody knows about Infamous. And so those would make great new games.
Yeah, where the first two games focused on Cole, I feel like now we can go anywhere. We're not strictly limited to one power set. I like that Delsin's a power absorber. I mean, we go with any power, but it would be cool to have him in another game, I think.
Yeah, and we know of many more abilities that we haven't even seen. So dive into those. I know there's a DLC for Second Son, which allows you to do paper. We never played the DLC.
No, you can't actually use the paper.
You cannot use
power.
it? Do you see a character using it though?
Yeah.
Okay, so you see someone using it.
Paper cut.
Paper cut, right. And so I never played it personally. I remember seeing videos of it though.
We could never get it to work.
It never worked on our PlayStation. I don't know why.
Yeah.
But
we could never load the web page.
That's right.
It was kind of an ARG storyline.
Yeah, but it would be nice to see it go in another direction with one of those abilities that we learned about. I think I heard like magnet was one of them.
Yeah, there's like magnetic, metal, paper.
There's just a bunch of different ones, you know. I think it's like
wire,
wire, that's it. Glass. Those
would
are all
probably
tested.
be too graphic.
Oh yeah. And so, you know, there's a lot to go with all that. Those are whole new games we could see.
Yeah.
So that's a whole franchise that's a good franchise because they have a lot of creative options.
It's been a little while. This came right at the beginning of the PS4 cycle, but the developers said that they could take the Infamous franchise wherever they want in the series.
Exactly.
Any time frame, anywhere. But I think it would be cool to get another game with Delsin's character. If now I heard the fan reception wasn't as good, but I think he could really be explored more, and his ability to have multiple abilities kind of is fun. I thought of myself kind of an idea where, you know, maybe in order to make the good versus evil morality system work better and not just choose the canon good, you could say that he's amnesiac, and so he's kind of lost memory of who he was, but he'll regain the 4 abilities that he had in the game, which are going to be more balanced and more fleshed out, right? And
regain the abilities whether you remember being good or bad.
Yeah.
Because in this game, in Second Son, there's abilities you can only get if you're good, and abilities you can only upgrade to if you're bad.
So I'm thinking he could get those 4 main abilities back really early.
Yeah.
And then kind of in more of a tutorial segment, and then gain like, you know, maybe 4 new ones or something.
Yeah.
That would be cool, but that's just my idea. As kind of a aspiring game developer, I kind of want to look and see, you know, how I would do a game.
Collateral gaming ideas. We're writing these down.
All right, Sucker Punch Productions, you know, you can come talk to me.
Yeah,
I'll have some ideas. Eventually I'm gonna start, you know, producing some indie content, I think. But yeah, Sucker Punch Productions, they haven't worked on Infamous in a while. They did just release Ghost of Tsushima. You know, they're not just cranking these out once a year like Ubisoft.
They're putting their time and effort into these.
Yeah. Of course, no hate on Assassin's Creed. We do love it, but
they have multiple games lined up, hopefully.
Yeah, we want to do at least one of those every season, I think, along with, you know, Zelda, of course. Now, that reminds me.
It does.
I've been making you guys wait. I've been killing the anticipation. But we got the results back from the Instagram poll. Now, it wasn't time, but I had a friend, Steven, who I've been wanting to get on this podcast, but I don't think he's going to join us probably at least this season, he said. But we're going to get him on eventually, guys. Go, he's not on any social media, but DM me to DM him. You know, text him. I'll make it work. Anyway, I asked him to break time. And the result of that is, drum roll, The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. Now, it was either that or it was Majora's Mask. They're both my favorite entries in the series. They're kind of tied in that place. We're definitely going to do Zelda every season.
Yeah, that's the plan. There's so many games going forever.
Yeah. And we're even going to do Zelda CDI later this season. That's going to be fun. So I'm so excited to go through Breath of the Wild. Dakota's never played it before.
Yeah, I haven't played this one. I played a couple others, all the games. I've gotten through, I think, one of them completely. But I've played some of the DS. Those are...
You could have gotten started, Dakota.
Yeah, whatever.
It's okay. We had a good holiday break. But yeah, stay tuned for Breath of the Wild. It's going to be a lot of fun. Next season, we'll go ahead and do Majora's Mask. So we are going to have both of those out there, and it won't even be that long from now. And I'm super excited. I played Breath of the Wild on the Nintendo Switch, which my Nintendo Switch was stolen. Damn it.
In peace.
But we do have it for the Wii U. We're borrowing our cousin's copy. And we're going to play through that. We're also going to do another Let's Play on that. Now, pretty soon here, we're going to get our Fable 3 Let's Play out. Expect that within a few weeks.
Did we tell them that last time too?
Yeah, the Let's Play, that one's going to be free one time only, but I'm going to have them offset to where when we would do our Let's Play, we're going to release the last one. That gives us more time to work on them because there's more footage to go through.
Oh yeah, it's a lot. There's a lot to do.
So we'll see if those go through. If anybody likes those, we'll keep doing them next season. We'll keep doing them this season. And Zelda's definitely going to be one of those games that we're going to do a Let's Play for. I think it's going to be every other episode. And then in between the other ones, we're going to do indie games.
Indie game
mini reviews.
We've got one coming up soon.
Yep.
Hello Neighbor.
Hello Neighbor. Hello Neighbor. That's one we were just playing through together too during the break. We played Infamous and we played Hello Neighbor.
These indie games are supposed to be easy, quick games we can go through, but we took forever with Hello Neighbor.
Yeah.
Forever.
Yeah, it's a long game and it's a very deep game, and we're gonna get into that on that episode. It's just gonna be audio only, maybe, you know, just a short segment. Hopefully we can just record that right after we record with Collateral Cinema, probably. and then our next numbered episode is gonna be The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild.
That's it.
All right. Well, that being said, we are on iTunes. So happy for that. We have, of course, our Podbean, which is our start off where we host our RSS feed. Yep. We are also on Spotify, which is, you know, a good competitor with iTunes.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of people are on Spotify listening to their podcast. Even my fiance, Lillian, she uses Spotify. Huh. We're also on YouTube, is where we're going to be hosting our video podcast for now. Now, if we could get some more money to run this thing, any money we get from donations is going to go straight podcast. You know what I mean? And if that ever happens, I hope so. We're going to set up our Patreon with some good content. The Let's Plays are going to be one paid content after this one-time free Fable one. Yeah. And then some other things. We'll get into that later this season. So come check us out on Patreon. And then eventually we might release our video podcast in some other places too. But for right now, they're on YouTube. We are also on Google Play. I don't have Google Play. I can't get it to work. The app doesn't work on my iPhone because Google sucks.
Yeah, basically. I'm not going to
They're
get
competing
advice.
with Apple, and they don't want to make their app actually work on it.
I'm not going to get advice that will work it anyway, so I don't want to use anything that's not my iPhone. No.
But anyway, if y'all are watching this on or listening to this on Google Play, we appreciate you though still, and we commend you for using that interface. Yeah, we can't get to it, so I can't tell, but I got the approval message. I think Collateral Cinema, you're on Google Play too, right? All right, so yeah, we're all on Google Play, although you can't verify it, but we got the approval message. We are also going to look and make sure that we can get hosted on other podcast formats, see if so we can get to you from anywhere, no matter where you get your podcast. We'd like that. That a big help's going to be this Chill Lover Radio. Hopefully we want to get in touch with them soon and so we're part of the Collateral brand, so we would definitely want to get on board with that. We're going to be happy to be a part of them.
It's going to be awesome.
Bo, you said you were going to get us set up with that. Yeah. We should give them a call. Yeah, I'd like to talk to him. To the guys from there. Now, so I'm super excited to be be a part of this. Are you stoked, Dakota?
Oh yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be a long ride. This is kind of the stepping stone into our journey, you know. So I'm hoping this is what does it.
Put our names out there, guys. Watch, because I've got a baby girl coming into the world and I need to feed her.
Sniffle, sniffle.
In the arms of an angel. All right. Anyway, that being said, I am Ashley Chancellor, the better half of the Chancellor Brothers.
I'm Dakota Chancellor,
the lesser half of the Chancellor Brothers.
I wasn't gonna say that. I knew better.
And Bo and Robert say hi also.
Later, y'all.
Collateral Gaming out.
Forever and dead to your price.
Welcome to Collateral Gaming Extras, the part of the podcast where we do and talk about whatever the hell we want. Currently, we are giving each other foot massages. We're in a diamond formation. I've got Robert's feet. Dakota's got my feet. Bo has got Dakota's feet. And Robert has Bo's feet.
More foot fetish. Okay.
Yeah. I guess we're Quentin Tarantino up in this motherfucker or something.
God.
Hey, Dakota, can you move a little bit more downwards?
Move
Robert?
downwards.
Yeah.
Robert.
I think I got you.
Okay.
Yeah. Jeez.
Oh, that feels pretty good.
Man. Fucking bullshit.
Do it.
Hey, guys. So
I'm trying to feel good here, guys. This isn't funny.
So, hey, guys, we just finished recording our Monty Python episode with Collateral Cinema. And, of course, this is meant to be kind of an audio exclusive of our podcast with inFAMOUS on Collateral Gaming. So we just wanted to give you guys a little bit of insight into what's going on as we're up and coming in the podcast industry.
Oh, yeah. Definitely up and coming. Isn't that right, Robert?
Oh, yeah.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah, dude. Like, seriously.
Can't wait for more of your videos on YouTube.
Yeah, that's going to be really interesting. That was actually very well done, honestly.
Hey, thanks, bro.
Yeah, great job.
We don't want to continue to produce the video versions of the podcast. So on YouTube, we've got, now that we have the Fable one, this inFAMOUS podcast is also going to be on YouTube. And then we're going to do Zelda, Hello Neighbor. But we're also going to do our Let's Play coming out pretty soon here. We're going to do that kind of staggered after our next episode that we would do a Let's Play on.
And what's the Let's Play going to be about?
The Fable. That's our first one, the free one.
That's right, the free one. Okay, I got you. And then the rest is going on Patreon?
Yeah, hopefully. I want to get our Patreon set up. I don't know. Can you set videos through Patreon?
Yeah, you could do videos.
Badass.
Yeah, you got it. Y'all just host it through YouTube, but you set it on unlisted or whatever.
Yeah, that's what I want to do. So that's gonna be fucking badass.
Oh, it will be. Yeah. I mean, and Collateral Cinema will have video very soon, and we're going to actually go ahead and start working on our first Patreon video.
In the middle of set design, really.
Yeah, we're trying to get our set design together. We're going to probably do a movie recommendation show. It's probably going to be like we're just going to pick 5 movies out of our collections, and we're probably going to go ahead and just recommend them.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I mean, it'd be a fun way to kind of connect with our listeners if they want to pay for it.
Yeah, I agree.
It'll be a lot of fun.
If you guys still want to listen to us on the way to work and whatnot.
Oh, definitely, yeah. Listen to us on the way to work. Seriously.
That's the podcast format. At least the audio format. That's why it's so popular right now, and why I'm so happy that we're gonna get to jump on board this and share some content with you guys.
Yeah.
I love throwing out a podcast while I'm driving to work, or
That's the best.
It's better than putting on music almost.
Yeah, I agree.
It's more engaging. I mean, I barely listen to music anymore. I'll just watch YouTube or listen to podcasts.
Yeah. So we're super excited to be your cinema and gaming podcast.
Yeah, definitely.
All right. Okay.
That's right, y'all. Collateral Cinema taking over Collateral Gaming.
Oh.
Yeah, that's right. This is a power grab now.
Right.
Well,
right.
But yeah, we're super excited to be sharing content with you guys and to be a part of Chill Lover Radio.
That's really exciting. Honestly, I am so happy. I mean, they're very, very cool people.
Yeah.
They do a lot of good work. Like, check them out. Download their app. It's on iTunes. I think it's on Fire Stick or Roku and stuff like that.
Yeah,
Look for their app. I mean, it's on all kinds of different applications.
Yeah. Yeah, it's going to be super fun.
Or I should say platforms.
Platforms, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we want to try as much as possible cinema and gaming to be on, anywhere where you can find your podcasts.
That's the plan.
As we go into each season. So, now, guys, we went into the absurdist comedy Monty Python just now.
Oh, man, that was fun. It was fun watching it again.
Yeah.
Like, seriously, that was a lot of fun.
Yeah, we're still watching it.
Yeah, it's still on. I think we're just at the last scene where they're about to storm the French castle. The castle of
5.
1, 2, 5.
3, my liege.
And then I told them, I said, we need to record this little extra segment, and then we're going to go get some bean and cheese tacos from Mama Margie's.
Some tacos.
Sounds good to me.
Tacos. I've been eating lots of tacos lately. As a vegan, tacos are like the easiest. Tacos and burritos are the easiest thing to veganize.
What do you put on your tacos?
I'll put rice, beans, grilled vegetables.
You know, what about like pork and beans?
No.
No?
Like black beans.
Okay.
Yeah. Usually black beans are vegetarian or
Okay,
vegan or even
Badass.
vegan. Yeah. So, I mean, usually black beans, rice, jalapenos, guacamole,
Yeah.
lettuce, pico de gallo.
Any plant-based food.
Just
pretty much.
anything plant-based. I'll even make some taco meat, with plant-based meats, with soy crumbles.
Yeah, I like a lot of vegan foods. I used to be a vegetarian back in 5th grade. I learned that there's a whole world out there of substitutes for protein and. Okay. There's a whole substitute of meats out there for protein and stuff.
Yeah, I even recently found out that there's ways to make barbecue like brisket out of like jackfruit and the seitan.
Oh wow.
What?
Yeah, yeah, you can make vegan brisket.
That's crazy.
Like, I mean, a lot of people on Twitter went ape shit over it, but
well, I'm sure.
it's just like, oh, well, what the fuck ever, people. We'll do what we want. We're vegans.
And what did you guys think about our infamous episode?
It was interesting. I mean, I was here watching y'all record it. At least for the most part. I was also on my phone a lot if you watched the video.
Yeah, watching the gameplay pretty much,
I
right?
mean, honestly, it's really because I've just never really played Infamous. Like, I remember the first one on the PS3, but I mean, I also remember that, what was that other kind of open world prototype?
Prototype, yeah, that the guy who did
Mhm.
Haunted Juducible. He
Yeah,
uploaded some
yeah.
videos of that.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I remember that one a little better, and it's kind of similar
Yeah,
to it.
those are similar. Second Son, though, we're super excited to release that podcast as our first official episode of this, season 1.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
great game. It's a really good game to start off with, kind of show us how we are,
What do you think, Robert?
Oh, yeah, not too bad.
I can't wait for your Hello Neighbor and PT
Oh yeah.
Yeah, our
soon.
indie
episodes.
indie
yeah.
game mini episodes. So our next one actually is gonna be Hello Neighbor.
We had so much fun playing that game.
I want to get a little more gameplay out of that.
I do too.
To finish my schoolwork.
Oh yeah, of course.
And get some Zelda done, Dakota.
I'm getting it done. Don't worry.
On the Zelda.
But yeah, Hello Neighbor is a lot of fun. And I like a lot of the more psychological elements, especially near the end where there's that ginormous neighbor and you're supposed to conquer your trauma from what happened to you.
That fucking guy, he just, yeah. And then, we have just these deep story elements,
Yeah.
the gameplay, the multiple ability to solve puzzles and each act in it in multiple ways.
And also there's the ways where it alludes to certain events in the neighbor's life, like for instance, the loss of his wife, the loss of his child.
Yeah, and they get into that. They have did you know there's a novel, too, about Hello Neighbor?
Really?
Yeah, and they go
Nice.
into, like, the character names and that background.
That's
No
really cool.
shit.
And that's what there's a new game that just came out, Hide and Seek.
Hide and seek. Yeah.
And
I wanna
that's
play
based
that.
on what happened to the neighbor's children.
Oh wow. So is it like a sequel, a prequel? Or
Yeah,
what?
it's a prequel, but
Oh, I see.
instead
I
of running
see.
away from the neighbor inside the house, you're the little girl running away
Yeah.
from your brother, and you're
Yeah.
playing hide and seek. And there's like these safari environments, and
Oh, I see.
but like he
I
ends
see.
up the whole backstory with the neighbor is that the son kills the daughter, and then the son ends up getting kidnapped or buried alive or some
Yeah,
shit.
right,
Goes
yeah.
missing, and that's why the neighbor's like a fucking tool.
That'll be really interesting because there was a lot of really, really sad elements to that story. And
Yeah, you could definitely see the undertones in it. And but we'll get into that. I don't want to spoil that too much because our indie mini episodes are going to be mostly
Yeah.
spoiler free.
I gotcha. So we may have said too much already.
No.
I mean, hide and seek. I don't know if we'll ever do that one, but
I gotcha.
Hello Neighbor. Yeah, that's going to be our next episode next
no,
week.
y'all need to do Five Nights at Freddy's.
Oh God. I don't know how I feel about that.
I
mean,
you're gonna have to and watch Matt Pat's all the goddamn game theory videos on it.
I like game
God.
theory, but I
The-
just
the-
feel
the
like
30
Five Nights.
The 30 zillion goddamn videos that he made
Yeah.
on it.
I feel like Five Nights is just so overhyped, though. I don't
Yeah,
know.
that's how it was.
It's-
It just
it's
it
got-
was cool at first.
It's got some interesting lore to it, but then
Yeah.
again, I don't know how it's really worth getting into.
Yeah,
I feel
Just other than the superficial experience of playing the game,
yeah,
because the gameplay is just so limited.
yeah.
I mean, they add stuff as you go along on the other different games, but You know, it's just so bare bones, like even rudimentary even.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a reason why it's a popular franchise with kids.
Yeah.
At least before Fortnite became a thing. I like to think like a lot of the kids that grew up with Five Nights at Freddy's are probably ones playing Fortnite now.
Oh yeah,
Coda
you're
likes
right.
Fortnite.
Yeah.
I don't know if we'll ever do Fortnite.
I wouldn't
or
do Fortnite.
Minecraft, but
that would make y'all look really, really dated if you did Fortnite.
It would.
Pretentious.
Pretentious.
Yeah, no, I agree.
That's
There's
what I
not
mean.
much gameplay to talk about, really. I mean, there's the save the world mode, but like no one
You
really
want a
plays
story?
that.
Yeah.
To discuss. Now, the game that you're excited about doing, as far as indie game reviews go, is Subnautica, right?
Oh, I'm so excited! I've been playing like Subnautica and Subnautica Below Zero. The alpha just came out. Oh,
You're probably gonna want to talk about the first one though, because that's the full version.
Yeah, that's the full version. It's completely. I mean, I think they still are adding on to it like right now.
Yeah.
But
Wow.
they take feedback from players and they go with it. And it's really cool. It's such a beautiful world and it's awesome. I'm
Talk to us
excited.
about that. What is Subnautica about?
Subnautica, it's like you're in the first one, you're this character who's on a ship on Altera is what it's called, and it's the ship that, you know, crash lands on this planet that's foreign to, you know, but they were trying to get there because they were going to do some mining or some research. I think it was research. And the ship just crash landed. There was the only survivor was you know, but yeah, it's pretty interesting. And you go around the world, you upgrade yourself, and you can go underwater. Like it's all an underwater world basically.
Yeah.
I mean, there's some on land parts, but you're underwater the whole time. And you have
is it like a RPG or something like that? Like
no, it's an open world. I mean, it's
okay,
it's
okay.
crazy.
It's not even MMORPG.
Not really. There's actually no fighting in the game. That's what's kind of important about it. Is that there's no fighting.
There's
You're
no
exploring.
weapons. You have like a knife you can use to fend some things off, but
you have a survival knife, and that's it. And it's just used to you can defend yourself, and you can like destroy things.
Yeah, they developed this game. I think after they made that decision after the Sandy Hook shooting.
Oh,
yeah,
wow. I see.
Yeah,
Damn.
so Subnautica is really interesting. It's like an open world underwater exploration, and I know I researched into it a little bit. That'll be fun. What the hell are you doing?
Having
Robert?
fun there, Robert?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, you look like you're having all kinds of fun.
He's putting lotion on his back, but we didn't know where he was putting the lotion.
on the skin.
We had no idea what you were doing with
Puts
that.
the lotion on the skin, or
Put the
else it
lotion
gets
on
the
the
hose again.
What
Motherfuckers.
But
So have y'all checked out the Resident Evil 2 remake?
I heard about that. Yeah.
I want to play that.
Damn,
like,
we've got
seriously.
so many games to talk about. Silent Hill and Resident Evil are series we need to get into on the podcast.
Silent Hill is the shit, man.
Yeah,
I'd be down.
Oh man, Dakota, I need you to start giving me some ideas for season 2. I've got some of it written down, you know. Especially
lots
I
of
got some
ideas.
stuff up to like season 5 or 6, but
Yeah.
I want you to tell me what games you want to review.
Oh, I've got tons, bro. Tons of games I can think of.
And of course, you know,
Alone in the Dark.
Do what?
Alone in the Dark.
Alone in the Dark. Oh
Remember
yeah,
that?
that's old school stuff right
Remember
there.
Alone in the
Or
Dark. What's that
what
about?
was it? The Seventh Guest back in the day,
Yeah, like stuff made for Xbox 360.
or Grim Fandango.
You know, we could always
yeah.
do Red Dead Redemption.
We're doing RDR2
Dipshit.
this season.
Nice.
Cowboys.
I've seen that movie. That movie. I've
game.
seen that game in action. I've seen it in action.
the fuck are you on, Bo?
It's interesting. Oh, I'm on all kinds of things, bro. I'm on PCP right now.
Marvel Ultimate Alliance.
That DMT?
DMT.
Oh, Ultimate Alliance. Yeah, that's next season. We're gonna do Ultimate Alliance.
That's cool.
Man, I don't want to spoil too much of our the episodes we're doing, but yeah, stay tuned for Hello Neighbor next, and then the Zelda Breath of the Wild, followed by which we're gonna do a Let's Play on, of course, Zelda, and then No Man's Sky. We played a little bit of that already.
It's a lot of fun.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I want to do some editing tomorrow. Maybe if we have time, try to get into a little bit of No Man's Sky with you while you're playing Zelda.
Yeah, I feel you.
Yeah, for sure. Zelda.
Man, but you know, you guys, it's so hard to find time. Like movies, you know, I can go watch the movie real quick the day before we record, but games,
Yeah.
you got to put a little bit of time into it. It's been
Yeah,
kind
it's
of difficult.
It's more immersive in many ways.
Yeah, I
So-
feel like games will definitely become at some point, you know, like a dominant form of storytelling.
So-
in the
Oh, yeah.
future.
So when are you guys gonna do like real retro games? You know, like old school Nintendo games or whatever.
NES, Super
Oh,
NES.
fuck, we want to. I mean, like I said, Zelda, Mario. We want to do a lot of those Nintendo classics, and Scott Pilgrim. That's a fun retro style game.
Yeah.
Oh, the arcade version.
We said we were
Yeah.
going to do Grand Theft Auto.
We should talk about Oregon Trail.
Oregon Trail.
Oregon fucking Trail. Fuck yeah, they have a handheld version of that now.
That's crazy.
Maybe
Yeah.
get into the Spider-Man games too.
Oh yeah, those are always fun.
Oh, we're doing Spider-Man this season finale.
Yep.
The PS4 game.
Batman games too. They're the thing.
Oh, fucking yeah. Arkham next season 2.
No. Batman Forever on Genesis.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Impossible game to play.
It was right.
Or we could do Sonic. Like Sonic.
Spinball.
Do you
some
know
Spinball.
that your actions
Sonic
have
3. Dude,
consequences?
on Sonic 2, I still have not beat the second level of that shit.
Oh,
like,
wow.
in order to see the other levels in that game, I have to use the cheat code.
I feel you, bro. That's all good.
Yeah, I mean, I have one of these little one-off multi-game consoles. It's all Genesis games. Like, everything is like remixed all weird. Like the music's wonky and shit, but it's a lot of fun to play.
Yeah.
Oh, we could do 64 GoldenEye.
Hell
Oh,
yeah.
yeah, I do
He
have
has
it.
that. It's right down there.
We were playing that. It
Yeah.
still works.
Oh yeah, it still works. It's
controllers.
fantastic. Yeah.
We would get on that Donkey Kong or
Fuck yeah.
Yes.
Diddy Kong Racing, Mario Kart or something.
Diddy
Crash
Kong
Bandicoot.
Guys, yeah, we need
I
to get
love
together and do
I
some
love
gaming.
Crash Bandicoot.
Crash
Oh, hell
Nitro
yeah.
That's what I'm
Kart.
saying. Crash Bandicoot.
Bring back Crash Bandicoot.
That was
Well,
my childhood.
We want to do.
That's my childhood. What are you talking about? I'm fucking ancient. That's how long that shit's been around.
Yeah.
I remember
Since,
that on the first PlayStation.
PlayStation
I do
with
too.
Rayman. Remember playing Rayman?
Yeah, with Rayman and
Tomb Raider games, dude, all the time.
Tomb Raider, Jumping Flash.
First Tony Hawk
we-
1. Right?
We are doing.
Suikoden was on there.
Yeah.
I don't know about
Fucking
that one.
Wild Arms. Final Fantasy VII. Classic.
Yeah.
That's almost worth it to buy that stupid PlayStation Classic bullshit. That and Resident Evil Director's Cut.
Oh,
Yeah.
And Wild Arms.
Yeah, and what was I gonna say? Yeah, Tomb Raider, the 2015
Right.
reboot or 2013 reboot.
Mm.
That one we're gonna do at the end of the season as a bonus episode.
Man,
then,
y'all should just do the PlayStation one.
Yeah, I
Go
kinda
all
like
the way
way
back to the PlayStation.
I kind of
Yeah.
like the direction that the new series is going in, though. I beat that game in
yeah,
less
but
than a week.
you gotta go back to the original, man.
What's it? Titty Lara Croft?
Triangle titty.
Angelina Jolie. When she,
yeah.
she
I
did
want
the
to
movie.
do. I want to do the Lara Croft Tomb Raider with Angelina Jolie as
Yeah.
on the cinema
Yeah.
podcast.
Yeah,
is cool.
yeah, that would be fun. That would be pretty fun.
Yeah, fucking. What else did you mention, Robert? I know we're gonna do Grand Theft Auto probably at some point.
I do
I
have
don't know.
3. I have Vice City, San Andreas. I still
Yeah.
have, dude, I have a lot of them on my Xbox still.
I downloaded 5 for my Grand Theft Auto 5 for my fiance,
Yeah.
Nice.
Oh, hell yeah, that's the shit.
but and I started playing a little bit of that. Now, and then the other one you mentioned Crash Bandicoot.
Yeah.
So we're gonna do the Spyro Reignited trilogy. I think.
Oh,
plus,
Spyro is
Spyro.
fun. I
Plus the
love
Crash
Spyro.
remastered, like that bundle. If we
Mm-hmm.
can, if we have time to,
Is
do
there
all
a
that.
remastered Crash Bandicoot?
Yeah,
Oh,
it came out
fuck,
on
I
the PS4 just a couple of years ago.
Oh, dude, I want to play that.
It's like a year ago. Yeah.
Seriously, bring that shit over. I want to play that.
Yeah.
Definitely. Because I mean, I love me some Crash Bandicoot. That's some good memories.
Crash and Spyro. They both were
Both of
remastered.
those are great. Those are great memories right there.
Ooh,
Seriously.
do you remember that game Blinks, Ash?
Oh yeah,
I remember
The
Blinks.
cat game and the pigs.
I
and-
remember Blinks.
You remember Blinks?
Yeah, I remember that.
That was my childhood too.
Yeah, y'all
Time
remember?
Sweeper.
Y'all
That's
remember Gex Enter the Gecko?
I never
I
played
remember that. Yeah.
That was an interesting. That was one of those original 3D platformers where you had to get a bunch of collectibles and stuff. Like you had to collect a bunch of items.
He was like in a James Bond suit, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Read the cover.
And all the levels were these different parodies of movies and TV shows and stuff.
Yeah.
It was pretty fun.
Well, Conker's Bad for a Day.
Oh yeah, that's
my
that's
goodness.
hilarious.
That game is fucking awesome.
With the fucking giant pile of shit that's a boss.
yeah.
Oh my god, it's
the
a straight
jokes,
boss.
The sexual humor.
Yeah.
That's fucking awesome, dude. When are we gonna do that in GoldenEye?
Yeah. Yep. World's Not Enough. Tomorrow Never Dies, dude. I mean,
The world of gaming, the world of cinema. These places are huge. Ladies and gentlemen, we're all right. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, we're super excited to share both of those, the world of cinema and the world of gaming, with you. We're gonna go ahead and head out of here, and we're gonna get some tacos, some Venus cheese tacos, and some vegan tacos. And we're gonna kick off the night and hopefully get this crank some more shit out for you guys soon.
Yeah.
That's the plan.
So that being said, we are Collateral Gaming. I'm Ashley Chancellor.
I'm Dakota Chancellor.
I'm Bo Maddox.
I'm Robert Ortegon.
Hey guys, thanks for listening. Stay
Yeah.
tuned for the next few episodes.
You.
Laters, y'all.
Out.
Oh, dear God, no!
What happened?
Collateral Gaming is an L Company production. All music and game clips are owned by their respective creators, are used for educational purposes only, and are fair use. Please don't sue us. We're poor.